Dorothea. Welcome and good morning again for you here in Sweden, and for you in Finland. You've been awake well, for an hour already. The purpose of this little 45-minute session is to give you an update of what's happened during the last TIBCO Now conference in Berlin. It was earlier this month for you who didn't have a chance to participate in practice physical. So that's the main reason. So we're gonna to pick some news that was presented on the conference, and to try to describe for you all what kind of main overall conference, the direction of it was, and things like that. So my name is Björn, Arkenfall, working for Enfo integration, as Dorothea said, and together with me I have
Lars Sveding. I'm running sales for TIBCO in Nordics.
And Björn Johansson, I'm a technical pre-sales for TIBCO in the Nordics.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. Let's get started, right? So conference in general, and we're going to describe some news that happens for TIBCO MASHERY, which is the primary API solution for TIBCO, and also BusinessWorks Container Edition and BusinessWorks 5, 6, of course. I'm going to have a look at the TIBCO insights, and as Dorothea said, we will be trying to answer any question you have. If not, we will answer every question you have, but after the webinar during mail or similar. So TIBCO Now Berlin, it was earlier this month, 6th and 7th June. It was in Berlin this time. The main annual event from TIBCO user conference. It used to be called TIBCO. So for those of you who've been there for a long time, like I have been, but the recent years have been called TIBCO Now. It was about 600 participants, something like that. It's a bit short, but there's a reason behind this, because this time the conference was divided into 3 locations and places and times. So it was one event this year in US, one in Europe, and one in Asia, I think, right?
Singapore, yeah.
Yeah, Singapore, yeah. And so this was a new approach for TIBCO, and the reason is to be more near the customers, and so to on a general perspective. I do really enjoy going to Berlin instead of US due to the short flight, but I kind of miss, this big event with 3,000 attendances. And
you will have that coming up next year.
Yeah.
So we will actually every second year we'll have it in different locations, and next year a central event instead in US.
So I can plan to go to Vegas next time.
Probably, most likely.
Yeah. If you want to go this year, you can go to San Diego in October.
Okay. Okay. So it was good. Otherwise, it was just the big events of custom references presented, also some product demos, roadmaps, and one thing that I really like is also the latest year has been hands-on labs, so you can actually try and have a feel of the product, not just getting a PowerPoint presentation or seeing a screenshot. You can actually work with the tools. So I have a session with the BusinessWorks Container Edition and things like that. So I think that this is really nice. The overall topic of the conference was Industry 4.0. Was a lot of talk about APIs, cloud, IoT, analytics, of course, and a lot of machine learning. So I think this is the direction we see not in this conference, but also on this topic in the market in general. There's a lot of talk about IoT and cloud and machine learning. So from that perspective, TIBCO is following that trend or that kind of development in this area. One thing that I must raise here, and to because it's quite interesting, is that the analytics side of the TIBCO portfolio is getting a lot of attention. I estimated it was about 50% of the breakout sessions and the things on the conference. There was about the analytics product like Spotfire and things like that. And what do you feel about this, Lars?
Yeah, I think this is actually the goal that we have with the company right now, getting one sales force, one message to the market, and bringing analytics closer to our traditional customers is just one way of seeing that TIBCO is finally coming together as one product or one company with a message all around that. So it's fascinating, and we, as I said, it's a lot of focus, and it's also acquisitions as we see to strengthen our position there. Yeah.
I've seen this. I've been to these kind of conferences with TIBCO for years. I don't know exactly. I lost count. Maybe 10 years or something like that, maybe more. And I've seen this coming. This has been the latest 3-4 years. Analytics has been around for TIBCO for over 10 years, but the latest 2, 3, 4 years, it's got a lot of attention. At first, I thought this was kind of, sad, because as an integration nerd, I think that, the integration product deserves more focus. But looking at the market today, I think this is really a good fit. We've been moving and shuffling data around for decades, and it's more today about what you actually do with the data that counts. So it's actually more about acting on the events and doing analytics. So I can understand this, even though I try to like having more information about what's happening with the message bus, things like that. But so this was, of course, some of the major trends we saw on this conference. One of the customers that presented some of the reference cases, I would like to mention a short description of. It was ThyssenKrupp. They were into steels and doing a lot of things you can touch on. It's right. They have done a lot of solutions. Logo project, which is one of the worst. They have. They show this. They showed how they control the manufacturing process, dashboards controlling performance, quality of the process, and things like that. They had alerts. They could do some root cause drill down on the dashboard and things like that. And I think this is really exemplifying where we are today in this kind of world. There's a lot of integration going on there, also on the hardware side. But what was focused was what you actually did with the data. So, by the way, Flogo for you attending here and doesn't know about this is not a really new solution. It was presented a year ago. But it's TIBCO's IoT solution. It's released as open source. It's one of the smallest footprints available compared to. We're talking about 30-80 megabytes with the footprint there, and for Flogo it was with the same kind of logics. It was about 3 megabytes. And this is important, when dealing with small devices with a limited amount of capacity. Purchased by Vista Equity a couple of years ago, was removed from NASDAQ, and has been through transformation. For me personally, who is standing a bit outside and seeing this happen, TIBCO as a company now, and I think the TIBCO has been going through now with a couple of years of a pretty tough transformation internally in organization, sales, and things like that. But it seems to me that TIBCO has now gone through that kind of first important phase in this, and I saw a TIBCO that was more, open and more transparent and focused than ever. So I think this is good. We lost some speed and some focus during this kind of period, but it feels really interesting as a partner now.
I'd like to comment on that, because it's not only TIBCO and by being bought by this equity partners that is performing this transformation, but there's also the market and then how the market players want to buy system or functionality. We talk a lot about cloud and cloud solutions in that, and obviously the license market for cloud solutions are maybe a little bit different than the on-prem solutions, and that is part of the full transformation that we go through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What you mentioned is F1 racing car in the conference center. Mercedes is one of the big sponsors of this event. I'm not actually into details about what TIBCO actually do but something with events from the engine and doing analytics to maintenance on the cars, things like that. But it's kind of cool to see that in here. Okay, that was about overall 10,000 meters perspective from the conference. So digging into some of the stuff on the product side. TIBCO MASHERY, I would say continuing a lot of focus. Definitely the primary API solution from TIBCO now, even though they have others. One, this is worth mentioning. So MASHERY is a SaaS solution, but has an on-prem gateway. That's important to know. It could be deployed locally, but also on a VM image or in a Docker container. There's also continued and increased support to publish APIs from other products in the TIBCO family to MASHERY, from BusinessWorks, from TIBCO Cloud integration and things like that. So this was also, of course, demonstrated during the conference. Also completed with Swagger and things like that. This is important. Update as well. And you can now also export logs from MASHERY if you want to add.
We've been full speed ahead with
learning security, having machine learning capabilities to identify kind of normal patterns regarding API traffics, and to alert and do actions when that is not the case. And also important to notify here is the API Exchange Gateway migration. There is also within the statement of direction. So I think that's about MASHERY. So continuing development and other cool features coming ahead.
I like to just highlight one thing, that's the real-time API reporting, which is coming also. It's in the statement of direction that you will be able to stream the logs into your analytics platform so that you can look at what's happening in real time and take action in real time if something bad is happening.
Oh, yeah. So, BusinessWorks, going into that, I think this is important for most of the audience here. I can't go home from this conference without mentioning BusinessWorks Container Edition. Like Flogo, this was presented over a year ago, but it was a lot of focus about this. And I think this is very interesting for all of you running BusinessWorks today, but wants to use, cloud capabilities and do that in a container way. Then BusinessWorks Container Edition could be the way forward. There's a lot of improvements going on in this product right now. The latest is increased configuration management with Spring, Soul, service discovery and recovery, and a lot of things like that. Yeah, there was a lot of interest in BusinessWorks Container Edition.
One important distinction with the Container Edition is that you are actually using the platform runtime environment that gives you a lot for free, such as these configuration management, service discovery, and so on.
Yeah.
It comes with the container platform that you run BusinessWorks Container Edition on. So it's not part of the TIBCO runtime anymore. It's a TIBCO design, and then you build using scripts. You just build a pack or a Docker image, and then you just deploy it anywhere.
Yeah.
It's one of the big features that you can deploy it and run it on any of the container platforms out in the market.
Yeah, so Docker, Cloud Foundry, you can run your BVs in Amazon.
Amazon, Azure, OpenShift, and so on.
Yeah.
They're all supported.
I think this is interesting due to there is a, looking at the worldwide perspective, there's a huge amount of BV development that there are running today. And this is not saying that you can do this on any kind of BV process without some changes, but it's a very easy way forward to do some taking advantage of the containers. And going forward from BusinessWorks Container Edition to BusinessWorks, there was definitely one clear message of the conference, that is 5.6 is still supported. It will be. Looking at the versions today, you can see there is some dates that is far away in time. And you also, if you look at 5.13, it has no end support date. So it's a very clear message from TIBCO on the conference that don't rush into 6. You can still use 5. There's continued work and development on BusinessWorks 5.
You don't have to be worried about it's going to be retired anytime soon.
No, I mean it's massive out there.
Thousands of installations.
Yeah,
it's thousands of customers. It will continue.
And there are of course some updates to both BusinessWorks 5 and BusinessWorks 6. One of them we'd like to highlight is added support for unit testing now and mocking for BV6 and Container Edition. There's also a lot of new plugins and connectors. This is just a handful I brought up here that I think is more important than others. But there are others than this. But MQTT, OMQP, Amazon SQS and notification services, and S3 and HANA and things like that. This is very important to know. And the migration. So there's work right now that is continuing to minimize the footprint when running both BusinessWorks 5 and BusinessWorks 6 in the same environment. And BusinessWorks 5 will still be the support, and there is development ongoing. There is also improving the migration tool. So
with every release that we do of BusinessWorks 6 and BusinessWorks Container Edition, there's additional support for migration directly from 5 into both 6 and CE.
Yeah.
So that for every release, the migration process is made a little bit easier and a little bit more automated.
So there's a lot of customers there is doing exactly that, using both BusinessWorks 5 and BusinessWorks 6. So using BusinessWorks 6 for that kind of purposes, going REST and things like that. So with this, with BusinessWorks, with the Container Edition, and also with typical cloud integration, you can actually do more of a portability. You can move around your processes in a more convenient way without need to migrate your work. So you can use your BusinessWorks for on-prem if you want to, or you can go private or public using the Container Edition, Amazon Azure as mentioned, and you can also import into typical cloud integration if you want to use your processes in the cloud and as a software as a service environment.
Yeah, I mean, with a typical BusinessWorks suite of integration products, now you can cover the entire spectrum of integration from standard classic on-premise through DevOps, container, Docker, and deployments on private public clouds, all the way through SaaS platforms to easily integrate between SaaS solutions. And you don't have to migrate between the different versions. You port them, load them up, build the file, deploy, you're done. As long as you're using activities that are supported. Because if you're in a SaaS platform, there's no file system, so you can't use file activities, as an example.
Yeah.
But other than that, it works.
Yeah, I think exactly that was what I actually meant earlier, when you don't have to, port your processes, but you might be a situation in a process where you use some from the palette that is not supported here, but yeah. So, but I see this is a great opportunity for customers having BusinessWorks and on-prem only and want to leverage that into cloud. So that was a little bit about where BusinessWorks is today and where it's heading. As I mentioned, about 50% of the conference was about analytics, and so of course I would like to mention some of that as well here. And TIBCO has their Insight platform, they call it, that the Forrester and other have ranked very high in this kind of magic quadrants graphs. Lars, what kind of products is within Insight platform?
Very good question. So obviously in the Insight platform we see some of the products like Spotfire and the Streambase for analytics of big data or in streaming analytics. But it's also some of the business events and BPM functionality that we include in that. And as you see from Gartner and the Forrester here, Forrester actually ranking TIBCO's highest on the capability rankings on the market today. And this is also why companies and operations like Mercedes F1 Racing start to work with TIBCO to take advantage of both the big data and the real-time streaming analytics in order to understand what is happening out there. How can we optimize their operation, their racing capabilities with the cars and engines, but also other things in their logistic change. So for you that haven't seen the Insight platform, some obvious recognitions of this is it's very much visual. If you run Spotfire, as we see here, or if you run the streaming analytics platform, it's very much intuitive visualizations about status, about things that happens in the operation. It might be down to geolocation, or might be information that you visualize in graphs or in clusters or segmentations. It might be marketing information, or it might be status or equipment or whatever. So it's actually across all the verticals of businesses today, if it's financial services or in machining or in energy or telco, it's similar cases that you apply with statistics, with the visualization and maneuvering that. Some of the capabilities of the product, some features that have been discussed very much, is coming out in the recent releases. And I would also say with Spotfire, we're now entering this phase of bringing 4 releases a year. So we have a very stable back-end platform of the product and boasting the capabilities and functionality with the platform. It's actually to the level of where functionality like the one we see here with what's called the data wrangling. Analysts on the market like Gartner actually realized that this is bringing a completely new functionality category into the market. So what we do with Spotfire here with automatic documentation within the system, how you link information and transforming the data, it's brand new on the market. So it's bringing both ETL capabilities and analytics together in one platform, and that is actually positioning us differently from all the others.
And also, I mean, it was mentioned that Spotfire as a product compared to other on the market is heavily on the analytics side and not just, dashboarding. So
very much so.
Yeah, very much so.
And I also see the trend right now, as you said in the beginning, people like to understand what's happening out there, and that has been going on for a long time, that you go from kind of static reporting to more explorative data exploration kind of tools in there where you really find the benefits of Spotfire.
Yeah, I think personally I also try to enjoy that. The engineering team of Spotfire is in my hometown, Gothenburg.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit about the Insight platform, but it's expanding.
Yeah, we were happy to announce at the event in Berlin that we're actually acquiring another company in the same area called Statistica. So we bring in a lot of new capabilities to the platform, and definitely this is one of the directions within TIBCO, continue to do acquisition, strengthening area, bringing more value, not only to customers, but also to the persons like Gartner and Forrest and others that are valuing our company in order to be best positioned in the market.
It's going to be interesting to see in the years ahead here when Statistica will be probably more integrated in the product suites. If I understand correctly, this gives you as a developer or as a data scientist the more capabilities to doing visually modeling of statistics model instead of developing in R.
Yeah, you bring some capabilities that Gartner especially have told us that we should bring some focus on, and with Statistica that is definitely complementing what we currently have, but it also brings some other things into, so from a stat view or from a analytics view, it's also bringing some of the IT perspectives into this. It's just a great story.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much. So another area in the conference that was, of course, a lot of focus on was cloud. TIBCO has started that journey years ago with the first TIBCO Silver Integrator, and then was Simpler, and TIBCO Cloud Integration. And this has evolved, and there was a lot of focus now, especially on TIBCO Cloud integration. So, Björn, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, sure. So, we do have a clear strategy around cloud and SaaS options that we are going to build our cloud applications from the ground up. They're going to be cloud first. They're not going to be cloud washed. So as in this example that was announced at TIBCO Now, where TIBCO Cloud Live Apps, which is a form of low-code, no-code application development platform, similar to Actimetrics BPM, but it is not Actimetrics BPM in the cloud. This is built for the cloud. And since it's new, it's targeting more like lines of business developers or citizen developers or application office heroes who have a need to quickly develop a new application. And it doesn't have to be so rich in features, because it's more important to get value quickly instead of having every single possible feature that you can imagine. So this platform, we call it TIBCO Cloud Live Apps. It is an intuitive and easy to use low-code platform that enables citizen developers to rapidly create and deliver smart business apps. And it literally takes minutes. I have seen a demo, and if you want, I can give you a demo later on. But how do we achieve this? It is a unique user experience. It's self-service sign-up on the web, and it's all browser-based. It's not technical. It's not a technical jargon. It does have a wizard capability that sort of interviews you about what the application you want to build, what is it going to do. It has the built-in guardrails so that you don't have to worry about doing something wrong. It will actually prevent you from building an application that doesn't work. And it has built-in help. It has built-in channels for videos straight into our YouTube channel, so you can find out what I need to do. The whole point being that you can do this by yourself. You don't need help. You don't need training.
So what kind of solutions can I do here? Is it case management and?
Yeah. So it's targeting initially. This is the first release. It's targeting data and case-centric applications.
Okay.
So you define your data, and then you define what states this data goes through, and that could be work orders, travel approval, simple use cases. But it also leverages the TIBCO cloud integration platform, so that by exposing REST interfaces in TIBCO cloud integration, you can reach resources that are even on-premise. It's in the recent TIBCO cloud integration release. We added support for software VPN. So you can connect to your corporate VPN from TIBCO cloud integration, and you can even access that way databases on-premise to get data into a kind of BPM and low-code application flow. So both TIBCO cloud integration and live apps are built on top of TIBCO's new cloud platform. Okay. So they operate together. You have a single sign-on to get access to both platforms. So this is just an example. In the first release, it is targeting case management, and this is an out-of-the-box case management user interface that you get with the product. This is actually what an application could look like. You can see the states, you can see the data, you have dynamic case actions, you have work lists, you can work items, you can pick up work items, and so on. Again, this is the first release, and as we release more, functionality will be added. I mean, this is a cloud platform. We plan to update this several times a month.
Okay.
So that you can always get new stuff. It's going to be small releases, but that's how you get an agile environment.
But so Live Apps is available now online?
It's available now online. You can go to TIBCO.com and you can sign up for a 30-day free trial.
Okay. And then it costs per monthly, or?
There are two ways to subscribe, either per user, and you get a certain amount of applications, or you can subscribe per application with unlimited number of users.
Okay.
So that's the per user is we call the professional plan. The per application is the enterprise plan. Okay. Because you have unlimited users.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Björn. And you can also use, TIBCO cloud integration with your BusinessWorks.
Absolutely.
processes.
So the TIBCO cloud integration that is included with Live Apps is using the newly released web integrator only. So you can do your integrations on a browser. If you want BusinessWorks capabilities and the full-blown TIBCO cloud integration, that is separate subscription, but it also gives you the full-blown capabilities.
All right. Okay. I never got a chance to look at Live Apps yet. Having a little bit hard time to see the use cases, but I imagine that when I try it out, I might see how it works. So I'll try to do that in the summer now. I'll do some labbing there. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, we were very excited about this.
Yeah. So time is soon running up in this short, webinar, which was purposed to, sum up the TIBCO Now Berlin conference and where TIBCO is a company, where some product updates and things like that. We talked a little bit about the conference in general. I'm looking forward to go to Vegas next time, hopefully. And MASHERY, as I mentioned, this is the primary API solution for TIBCO. A lot of work going on there with integration with the other products, but also in a lot of nice features probably coming in the strategic direction. Mention again to BusinessWorks Container Edition. I think this is very important for existing customers to look at. Might be a lot of use cases there. And also BusinessWorks 5, as I mentioned earlier, is no reason to rush into BusinessWorks 6. Will still be supported. There's no end date. Still doing developments. BusinessWorks 6, a lot of new features. Especially I enjoyed looking at the plugins that was available now, and also that you can move around between BusinessWorks Container Edition, BusinessWorks 6, on-prem, and also TIBCO Cloud integration. And Lars, you also give us a short update of TIBCO Insight with Spotfire, Stream-based business events, and now also Statistica. And it's interesting to see this has gone from one product a little bit off in the TIBCO portfolio with over 600 products to now be so heavily what TIBCO do as a company. So it's cool. Mm-hmm. And also to see the cloud solutions continuing developing and being more there and also available and as a subscription-based model, which I personally like. So if I try to wrap up this a little bit, TIBCO, I think is still a hard focus on integration as a company, increasing with, of course, the cloud, IoT, API management, and things like that. There was a lot of focus on the conference on cloud integration live apps. I think this is due to the live apps was new, but there's a lot of focus on that, and of course BusinessWorks Container Edition and Spotfire. Another thing I think is important to mention is that I see a trend here with TIBCO releasing more and more of their solutions as open source. This was, I think, was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I saw this first, but Flogo is open source. You have the TIBCO Graph database. There's open source, and also what you mentioned, there is a lot of accelerators out there that is free. They can use. There's I think real-time monitoring and BAM accelerators, and there's a lot of things you can actually use there that could be useful. And looking at the transition of the company, there are products now available with more options, cloud, on-prem, hybrid, but also this is also goes for the licensing models where you can now more go, subscription, perpetual, start small and grow with needs. There's a trend I see there. And that was about it. Let's see, we have a few minutes left. And
one last comment. So we've been talking a lot about TIBCO Now, which tends to focus on the latest and greatest. All the additional or already existing integration products such as EMS for messaging, FTL for messaging, MFT for file transfer, they are also very important and core to our business, but it's not where most of the new development is happening. Yeah. There's a strong focus on those products as well because they enable everything else, but they're stable and mature products. They are being evolved. There's innovation in those fields as well, but it's not at the bleeding edge anymore.
Okay.
So it's stable, mature products like BusinessWorks 5, even though those will evolve more. But it's still supported, still evolving, still new features being added, and it's still core to what we do.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have a few minutes left, so we're running to try to dig some of the answers, try to questionnaires here. We have received a lot of questions here. If we're not able to answer all of your questions here in the session here in a few minutes, we'll try to answer them through mail. We have one question here. Could you please provide examples such business needs to migrate from 5 to 6? Please advise there. Well, REST, I would say. Yeah.
That's a good reason. You want to go to you want to REST enable your platform, and the support for REST is much better in BusinessWorks 6 than in 5.
Yeah.
You don't have to use the plugin that you have to do in 5. It's just so much easier to do it in 6.
Yeah. So that's one of the main reasons for that.
Another could be that you want to include your BusinessWorks applications in your DevOps platforms, continuous integration, continuous delivery.
Yeah.
There's a Maven plugin for BusinessWorks 6, so they can easily put it into your DevOps pipeline.
Yeah.
So that's another agile development.
Yeah, and the third might be also to get use of the container editions. Also has some Maven support. And
if you go all the way to container edition, then you obviously have the whole containerized deployment, agile deployment, agile development.
And another question here on the new plugins available for BusinessWorks 5. Some of them I think was, but some of them not.
Most of the new plugins are not available for BusinessWorks 5, so that could also be another reason to migrate from 5 to 6.
Yeah, I don't have the list currently here exactly which kind of plugins that was released for 5, but I might look into that. So no, the short answer is most of the new plugins is for BusinessWorks 6.
Yes.
Let's see what time. It's wrapping up here, I think.
Yeah. So very quickly, this question about MFT.
Yeah.
MFT continues to be evolved. We are now on release 8.0.1. MFT version 1.0 is in QA right now. It will come out some point later this year. Okay. Obviously, since it's not announced, I can't be more precise than that. But there's new features all the time being added to MFT as well. It's not just like I don't know if it's in 8.1, but they're working on, for instance, Docker support and expanding big data platforms for direct file transfers and so on.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Björn and Lars, for being here and for doing this webinar with me. And thank you very much for all of you audience attending. I hope this has been useful. If you want to have more of this in the future, please let me know, and the topics you might be interested in, etc. And we might be able to do something more about this in the autumn. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a great summer.